Have you ever had one of those days? You know, the ones where you're speaking another language and you feel absolutely on fire, totally fluent, and then the very next day you can barely string a sentence together? It is so frustrating. Well, in this explainer, we are going to get to the bottom of why that happens and what it really means for your learning. So let's just dive right into that big question. Why does your fluency sometimes just vanish? Poof, gone. You know you can speak the language. You have proof. You've had amazing conversations, you've understood jokes, you felt like you were on top of the world, and then bam, in a different situation, the words just aren't there. It's enough to make you question everything.
And that questioning, it usually leads straight to this thought, doesn't it? If I were truly fluent, this wouldn't be happening. It feels like you've just been exposed, like all that progress you thought you made was just an illusion. But what if that thought, as common as it is based on a huge misunderstanding of how skills actually work?
Yeah, when that drop happens, it can feel like the solid ground of your knowledge has just crumbled beneath your feet. And our brains, trying to make sense of it, they tend to jump to some pretty harsh and really predictable conclusions about ourselves. We start telling ourselves these stories, right? My level must be way lower than I thought. I'm just so inconsistent. I obviously need way more practice. And there it is again, that kicker. A truly fluent person wouldn't have this problem. Now, these thoughts feel incredibly real in the moment, but here's the thing, they are almost always inaccurate.
The truth is, the real reason behind this whole frustrating paradox is actually much simpler and a whole lot less personal than you think. It really all boils down to one single crucial distinction that most of us are never ever taught.
And here it is. This is the whole key to unlocking this puzzle. It's separating the idea of your ability from your performance. They sound similar, but they are not the same thing at all. And confusing the two, that's the real source of all that frustration.
Okay, let's break this down. Your ability is what you have. It's that giant library of vocabulary and grammar rules stored in your brain. It's stable, it's consistent, it doesn't just disappear overnight. Your performance, on the other hand, is what you show. It's your output in one specific moment. And that is totally situational, and it can change all the time. Your ability is what you can do in perfect, optimal conditions, like when you're relaxed with a patient friend. Your performance is what you actually do in the real world, right here, right now, maybe under pressure.
So let's be super clear about this, because this is the most important part. On one of those bad language days, you did not lose your ability. Nothing vanished from your brain. Your performance was simply and temporarily constrained by the situation. And hey, this isn't just a language learning thing. This happens literally everywhere. Think about a star athlete having an off day, or a brilliant musician hitting a wrong note in a huge concert, or a CEO stumbling over their words in a big meeting. Did they forget how to do their job? Of course not. Their performance was just off in that moment. Language is exactly the same. Okay, so if this is just a normal human thing, why does it feel so intensely personal when it happens with a language? Why does it feel like a direct attack on who we are?
Well, here's the sneaky shortcut our brain takes. The objective reality of the situation is just, I performed worse in that moment. That's it. It's a fact. But the feeling is so much heavier. I am worse. See the difference? We take a momentary dip in performance and we twist it into a permanent judgment about our own identity.
And the reason we do that is because language is just so intimate. It's not like playing tennis. It's tied directly to our identity, how we express who we are. It's linked to how intelligent people think we are. It's our entire social presence. So when our words fail, it feels like we're failing on some deep, fundamental level. But that feeling completely ignores the context. Your performance is always being pushed and pulled by outside factors. Things like pressure, feeling like you're being watched or evaluated, being in a new situation, your emotional state, even just being tired. All of these things add to what's called your cognitive load, which is basically how much mental energy you're using at one time. And this right here, this is the most empowering part of this whole idea. None of those factors, the pressure, the stress, the fatigue, none of them actually change your underlying ability. They only change your access to that ability in the moment. The knowledge is all still in there. It's just temporarily harder to find and pull out. All right, so now that we know all this, what do we do with it? How can we use this understanding to our advantage? It's time to build a new mindset, a new reframe for fluency.
This right here, this should become your new mantra. I want you to say it to yourself. Fluency problems in difficult situations are performance problems, not ability problems. Seriously, internalizing this one sentence can change the entire game. It shifts you out of self-blame and into simple, curious, situational analysis.
And this reframe also shows us why our old solutions never seem to work. When your performance drops under pressure, hitting the grammar books isn't the fix, because your grammar knowledge wasn't the issue. Drilling more vocab lists isn't the answer either. And beating yourself up, self-criticism is absolutely not the answer. In fact, it just adds more pressure and makes your performance even worse.
The real solution, the actual starting point for making progress on this, begins with something much simpler than drills or practice. It's just understanding the difference. It's about learning to see a performance dip for what it is, a temporary, situational event, and not some final verdict on your skills or your worth.
And once you truly start to absorb this, everything starts to change. That panic you feel in tough moments, it starts to fade, because you know what's really going on. Your trust in yourself increases because you stop questioning your core ability. You'll find your recovery from a stumble becomes almost instant. And because you're not fighting with yourself anymore, your overall progress just starts to happen naturally again.
So let's wrap this all up with one final thought, a practical tool that you can take with you on your own learning journey. The next time your fluency seems to just evaporate, I want you to stop and ask yourself a totally different question. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my level? I want you to ask, what are the conditions right now? Am I tired? Am I feeling pressured? Is this a brand new situation for me? When you analyze the conditions instead of criticizing your ability, you not only protect your confidence, you actually gain the insight you need to perform better next time.